this, like, life is not sexy. So it's like very hard for me.
It really isn't.
You know, like, mom life is not sexy. The constant juggling of the stuff, you know, when you're in even like, it really doesn't matter which phase, because like I'm out of like, you know, diaper phase, like right now with my daughter, but like that, not sexy. Like, it's not waking sexy. Up early, like all this, it's just, for me, it's just not. So it's like very hard for me to flip the switch to then get into that mode. I think that's where I really struggle. Is like, same. I think and maybe it's like men, but I feel like my husband, like my daughter could go down for bed and like if I said it was on, it could be on. But for me, I'm like, I just can't like flip a switch. Like I feel gross. Like I feel like I'm tired. Like I'm body tired by the end of the day.
Yes.
So it's just like, I find that part of it really challenging.
Him and his friends to what is it called, the Dave and Buster's on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, and I don't know why I had the grand idea to do that, because it's going to cost me more than
here we go again.
Right. Right? It's like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking?
Ma'am, so I just want to say that you are like, there's something in Spanish. I'm going to say it in Spanish and then I'll translate. It's antes muerta que sencilla. And you're Portuguese, so it's before I'm simple, I'm dead. Like, I'm not, okay. I'll be, you know what I mean? So like you're literally never going to be like a simple girl. Like, that's it. Never. You're just like, go big or go home, and then I'll deal with the consequences later.
So it's, I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't. I want to cry.
I know.
Because it's going to be all these kids with, you know, they're all complex, like, because they're from his school.
Cute.
And those are his friends, right? They either have autism or they have something different. So, and here's the thing, at Dave and Buster's, you can only see 20 people. So if you have more than 20 people, they have to go sit somewhere else. And so, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll rent a room. So they send me a quote for the room. It's like $2,000. I'm like, no, we're not renting a room. So I'm going to figure out. And I think that the parents are going to have to just go to the bar. And then we'll pass out, you know, the kids can sit down or something. I don't know. But now, but I think it's going to be okay. Like, a lot of people are kind of out of town because of Easter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of his friends, they're not going to make it. Anyway, yes. So
it works out. Miss Jill, do we have a guest today?
So it turns out, speaking of Easter, Good Friday, my husband is off because the markets are closed. So she's with him.
Oh, yay!
So yeah, they went to go play outside. So it was fine.
Worked out.
Oh, it would have been fine either way, but it definitely would have been a different vibe. So it worked out that he was able to take her. I was like, oh, good. You're not working. I love you guys. Bye.
Oh, that's so cool.
Bye. I was telling Michelle about I had an IG live once with someone who has I was on her podcast, and she has a pretty large podcast in my space, in the education and parenting space. And she wanted to do an Instagram live to promote it. I was like, oh yeah, totally. But then my parents, who were supposed to watch Ray that day, my dad was sick and they ended up not coming. I was like, it'll be fine. My whole work is independent play. My daughter's great at playing on her own. And she did great. She was right next to me, playing while I was doing it. And then as we're about to close it out, she's like, I have to go poop. like during the live. I was like, okay, babe, go ahead and go to the potty. We continue. And then just starts screaming from the bathroom, screaming, I need help. I need help wiping. Mama, I need help. And like at this point, like I'm just trying to wrap it up. And it was like, and then like this way, I mean, God bless, but she just like, she's continuing to like ask questions. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I also like, so then my daughter starts like creeping out of the bathroom. Like, I'm not hearing her because I'm not like coming, even though I keep saying, I'm going to come in a minute. Whatever. I'm like, so now she's like walking around with like a poop butt. It was just like, it was fine. But I remember just like the level of stress of like this is like being broadcast to whoever. But I was saying to Michelle, like, at least like in our space, like, I feel like parents are usually like pretty understanding and stuff like that happens because we're all like, oh, we've all been there one time or another, but it like had gone so well. I was like, wow, I was so worried. It was fine. And then in the last like 5 minutes, it just like all hell broke loose.
It got really real.
It got real. And I was just like, and I felt bad for her too, because like, I get it. Like, you know, you're like sitting there waiting and like, you know, what felt like a second to me, like probably felt like an eternity to her. But I was just like, oh, well, you guys can find me at Chili Beans NYC. Thank you so much. For all your parenting needs, just right here. Just like this. I feel like there's also, sometimes I like put this like added pressure on it, which I'm sure it's like a me thing, but because like, I'm supposed to be, you know, an expert in, I mean, really more in play, but like in the space where then I'm like, I feel like when it, you know, I'm like, oh God, like what are people going to think? And then after I was just like, they're going to think like your kid went to the bathroom. Like, what are you,
yes.
Like your kid doesn't go to the bathroom? But I was starting to like kind of go down a hole of like, you know, like of like, what does it look like? And it's like, it looks like your kid goes to the bathroom like every other kid, like, you know. But sometimes I think I like do that to myself where I'm just like, you know, I'm afraid of what the perception is, and I try to fight it by like being more transparent. Yesterday actually, so my daughter's home on spring break, which is why I thought she was going to be on with me today, and she had picked out this like thing. We were in Target and it was like a set of butterfly wings, like cardboard butterfly wings that kind of like look like stained glass, like they have like different colors that you put in whatever. Yeah, it looked cute. It was like $5. So I was like, sure, we can do it one of the days when you're home. And we opened this thing up and I'm just like, oh hell no. Like it was a million pieces. There was nothing like age appropriate about it. And we do a lot of art here and like a ton of you know, creating and stuff like that. My house is always, as I'm sure you can see behind me, like a disaster of stuff. But like, we don't do crafting. Like that's like a different thing. Like I actually don't enjoy that at all. I don't like step-by-step like instructions and it has to be a certain way. Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
I don't like it at all. It like activates all my perfectionism and like it's just not good. So we're like doing this thing and I'm trying, like I almost lose it multiple times. Like I cannot with it. I hate it so much. And then finally at one point Ray goes, Mama, it's fine. It's just butterfly wings. It's fine. I was like, good. At least you have it together. Like, thank God. Because here I am, like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, it's never going to work. Like, freaking out. Anyway, all this to say, we did figure it out. We finished it, but it was not a very enjoyable process for me. And then I posted this picture of her when we were outside of, like, the back of the wings. And you could see, like, the colors reflecting on the sidewalk. And I was like, if I'm going to put this up, I need to like be real about what a freaking nightmare making these was, because I feel like that's kind of the problem, right, with social media and stuff is like we're seeing this like curated thing and then people look at it and they're like, oh, I don't ever do something like that with my kid. I'm like, if you knew what was going on here, like
it was a nightmare, you guys.
Yeah, it was horrible and I did not handle it well at all. So I did, and I just was like, I said it. I was like, truth be told, like, these might look nice, but like, and I just said everything I said to you. And I got so many messages from moms, like, in my community being like, oh, thank God, like, I hate stuff like this. Or, you know, oh, I like always thought, because like your show, like, I never thought you would feel like that. I'm like, I feel like that all the time. So all this to say, whether it's like the poop story or that, I feel like we like have to talk about this stuff. and like normalize it,
Absolutely.
because otherwise people are seeing whatever curated thing they're seeing, and they think they're the
it's
only
true.
ones that like struggle or feel that way. So that's my
Absolutely.
soapbox moment for today.
No, that was so entertaining. I enjoy hearing you guys' stories. They're so funny. And, you know, like, littles are always so entertaining to me. Like, every single one. Every single one. It's
So, no, this week, Rio, well, not this week, last week, Rio decided that she wants to have a YouTube channel.
Oh,
And I was like, so she's like, so now she's been making like videos. So the other day, she uses her iPad to record, and she's literally, let me see if I can close the door for her because she's home.
don't want to talk about my video.
Right, telling her business.
She starts dancing like she's like on a like in
Like
a
a
freaking
TikTok?
strip bar, and she starts like climbing on things, and then she goes and she opens her jacket, and then she takes her jacket off, and then she ties it around, and then she's doing all this, you know, sexy stuff. And I was like, I cannot put this on your YouTube channel, my daughter. There's no way.
My gosh.
It won't be like,
You know what's
anyway.
crazy? Your daughter and mine are the same kid. I mean, we raised the same kid, and I don't know if it's the state or something, but like
Maybe, or maybe the Latina thing, like this, you know.
it might be a
I don't
Latina
know.
thing because we love to
Yeah.
dance and we love to just
know.
be so showy and like our makeup and all. Well, you guys know, you guys already know, but like.
And I
It's-
sent the video to my family, and that they had to remind me that I used to do. There's in Brazil. There's this woman who I'll send the video to you guys, and then you can tell me what it is that you. That I guess I used to copy her. So I'll send it to you. She's super old now, but I'll send it to you. But she just goes like. Pity, 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 pity. And that's
Michelle's dancing, you guys. Just
anyway. I need to.
gosh,
It's like
that's
a
hilarious.
very well-known song in Brazil, and I guess that I used to do that. So
oh, there you go.
that my
Lady,
family
there
reminded
is,
me
she
of
is
that.
not Brazilian if she doesn't love dancing. I am sorry.
That's right.
Even my
It's
my
true.
half French Canadian
That's
child
true.
right now has just the cutest little hips thrust on music. It's so cute. I'm like, that's my kid. That's he might be fair,
Yeah,
but he is half Latino. You know what I
there
mean?
you go. That's the same way over here in this. Yes.
Taisha, you're laughing your butt off. I wanted to just like, I know, I was like all week. So now Taisha finally, my algorithm brings you up on my my feed, and I didn't have that before. So I've been witnessing Taisha a lot. Obviously, Michelle too. Jill, it's your discrepancy if you want to add my crazy butt to social media. I do not blame you if you don't, because
Are you,
I'm just like,
we don't follow each other?
I don't know. It's Instagram is different from actual personal stuff like social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't worry about it if you don't. But anyways, Michelle and Taisha are now on my personal stuff, and I get real, you guys. You see me here. I get real on social media, and we just had like this whole debacle last week. But enough of that. Everybody started DMing me because my friends are really shy. It's funny because I befriend some really shy people, but they be in my DMs like, girl, what is happening? Like, what is going on? And I'm like, I know, I'm ready to block a lot of people right now. So anyways, but and I'm all inclusive, you guys. Seriously, I am. For even the most opposite of. That's why I love this podcast, and I want it to be so like different and like diverse, because I love the different, takes on stuff. And so I will never ever hate on you because you're different than me, ever. But it came to a disrespectful debacle with this person, and he and I had been friends for a long time, and now he is not a friend anymore. I didn't block him because I still feel that
he's not a friend anymore.
He's not a friend anymore.
Not a friend anymore.
Blocked. But all that to say, I've been on Taisha's stuff, and girl, you're on fire.
She is too.
Share. I know our topic today is like a little bit gonna like go on the left or right, like completely opposite of what we're talking about right now. But like, do you want to share like how you feeling? You're on a couple podcasts this week. Like that's kind of exciting, right?
Yeah, so what ended up happening is I am curating a motherhood anthology. And with this anthology is moms from all different walks of lives to just share their story, because our stories are unique. Like you just talked about, like we're all different and we all have different kids. We're all different people, all different backgrounds. So I feel like that particular anthology is going to be able to help somebody, right? It's all about inspiring, having fun. So it's not just like a boring book. I'm doing, we're doing short stories, poetry. So it is open literally to any mothers who would like to be a part of the anthology. And
we're going to talk about that later, you and I, because I think you needed to be in my emails, and I know you have a lot going on. So I'm just going to email you directly.
Okay. That's perfect, because the first person... Right. And with that, I was, this one lady, Charmaine, she actually heard a piece of my story, and she was like, I got to interview you. Like, you're 13 and pregnant, and you're doing this, that, and the third, and you act like it's normal. And I was just like, well, I mean, for me, it's normal for me, right? So it's been like really, really fun, like getting that momentum back. But yeah, like, it's really dope.
Well, you're on fire, and I want to congratulate you. And I'm so proud of all of you guys. I guess for my personal stuff, I'm all private and I don't share a lot of my stuff. But I'll tell you guys, I'm right now. I'm doing live selling. And I have like my little baby brand, and for clothing. And I just think it's so cute. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And, and I just got like some of this stuff like from overseas, and with the tariff stuff. And I just had like a little camo moment. And I was like, you know what? I like boy clothes mostly because there's so much for girls. So I'm going to go gender neutral and more boys. But it's hard to find, you guys, like stuff for boys.
Boy
so
stuff,
anyhow, I know. So that's going to be my little project on the side, and going live selling. Yeah, it's so cool. And it just gets me out of my routine, and I feel it's awesome. So with all that being said, mommy is at home. Like, if you guys want to hustle and stuff, you've got 4 examples how you can do it, even with kids. You know, needing your attention, having so much to do in your life, and it's overwhelming, and at times you want to quit. And right now Michelle is like expressing how hard it is for her, but you know, that's just part of the process. So I encourage everyone to continue their ventures, try to get out there, because I think the first wonderful thing about being your own boss is you get to, even in this aspect, I think that you need to just put your first foot forward and then just trust the process. And we lost Michelle. Did we lose Michelle? I think we lost Michelle. Okay, but she'll come back.
Jackie, I also, can I just say one thing on that? Yeah. I think, I feel like there's been such a shift that's happening, like certainly for moms, but just in parenthood in general, where it's like, hey, it used to feel like if you were like a career person, right? Like if you were a working parent, there was like one way that looked. And I don't know if it's just like times changing or like the pandemic, I feel like probably played a role in it. I know definitely for me it did, because that kind of changed my course personally in my work. But I feel like now there's just so many different versions of what it means to be a parent and then also pursue other things, whether that's like in your career or your other interests and passions. I feel like it's very like exciting and empowering for us, because there isn't this idea of it like having to be one thing. There's actually this amazing book Her name is Neha. She's from Manhattan, but she sort of like created this movement called Mother Untitled. I don't know if you like follow that Instagram account.
No, I haven't.
I feel like you guys would really like it, but she wrote a book called The Power Pause that essentially like is this. Like she was like a huge career person and then had kids and just felt this pull for a change, at least for like a season of her life, but recognized that like it didn't have to mean that like your career is over, and that actually like changing shape in motherhood or pausing or whatever it looks like for you actually like makes you more of an asset when you decide to return to work, and if and how, right?
Absolutely.
So like she talks like a lot about this stuff, and has like a lot of resources for people that are maybe looking to find kind of where they're at once they have kids. But I find it really inspiring, and I feel like there's just like so many different ways to make it work for yourself and still figure out who you are in all aspects of your life, not just being a mom, you know?
I see that so like a resource right now, because I feel like you're right. Things are changing. And for the ones that really tested the waters, went out there, did the work, and then started over because it didn't work, right? Kind of, failed, I guess. But I don't like to use that word because I don't see it as failure. I don't. Even when you fail, I really do believe that you learn so much by failing, by losing money, by losing following, by making mistakes, by
that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, all of that to say that, yes, we definitely, I think that this episode will definitely be part the entrepreneur, solopreneur, mompreneur.
Yes, I love it.
Just to really talk about those things. I do want to start with the one I really wanted to, and I'll kind of segue into it. My husband is also an entrepreneur, and he and I are both just with that mindset of small business all the time. And we love to talk about being creative. I think where it comes from, really, like the core is being creative and having that vision, if you will, of like having a certain outcome, whatever that outcome may be, right? If you want to help people, if you want to see your family more, have more time at home, make more money, which is a lot of times we don't talk about it like that, and we don't say the actual phrase make more money like it's important, but it should be very important to all of us, right? And it's almost taboo in some cultures or in some viewpoints. But that's a vision too, having more money, right? Like it doesn't have to be $1 million. It could just pay the mortgage and your car. I don't know, like, and then have savings on top of that. Whatever your goal is, right? So at this point, thank goodness, Michelle, you're back. I didn't want to like exclude you from the conversation in terms of like the relationship stuff as well. So
I'm sorry, I missed the whole conversation, and now I feel like I'm totally lost. So
no, we're going to start a new topic right now.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
I was waiting for you.
Which is perfect, based off of what you was just saying, Jackie, about, being a mother, even with Jill stating how, it looks different, like, being, that entrepreneur, also with Michelle being this real boss mother, where she, she's running her business, and she's also working a 9-to-5 while being a mom, being a wife. Like it looks different for everybody, but she still is able to show up as herself. And a lot of times as mothers and just parents in general, we do not focus on the parent in parenthood. We look at the whole thing, but as a parent, you're still an individual. Like you're still an individual person, and you still get to show up how you feel the need to show up, which is why it's okay that we are imperfect, because inside of the word imperfect, it says I'm perfect, right? So like regardless of what the mess may look like or what people may see, like we're all imperfect individuals, but you're perfect for your child is perfect for you. Especially entrepreneurs, it's like one day we may have $5, one day we have a -5, tomorrow we may just get that $5,000 mark, but we still have to keep going in this journey of, you know, balancing everything out. So y'all rock.
Yeah, you do too, Taisha. And you know, so with that, I just feel that sometimes as parents, as moms, as dads, for you audience, whoever you are, there does come a time, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is relationships and within our family dynamic. And yes, it's completely left field from the first topic, but you know, it's part of the same thing in a way, because we are in a household with goals. Mama's here, dad's over there, or mom here, dad there, whatever that your home is comprised of. And or sometimes it's grandma and grandpa raising kids, and you're a new mom now and a new papa now because, you know, you're raising your grandkids. However your household dynamic is, I just know that children come into our world to bless us, but also there are challenges that happen in a relationship dynamic that could arise. And actually, I know so because the 2 times in my 2 different marriages that I've, you know, had children in, it's happened. So, I want to talk about those things today. And I know, you know, everybody here has a different story to tell, but let's start with like a couple just to get into it real quick. So one of these questions that I was, you know, like trying to look for this podcast episode today, I really kind of liked. And it starts something like, if someone asked you today, are you in love with your partner? What will your honest answer be after kids? I know we all start off really absolutely loving our partner. That could mean in love. It could be, you know, whatever love means for you. I know that there's butterflies sometimes unless you were in an arranged marriage, which a lot of cultures do, you know, a lot of us get married with, you know, with love, with a lot of love and being in love. So I don't know. Do you guys want to, I know we don't have a lot of time, but let's talk about some of the ways. I guess I'll start first. If you guys want to piggyback after, but like, I feel like a lot of the time there is a difference between being a mom and being a wife. And how do you glue both of them, right? Like, how do you say, I know Taisha's already shaking her head, and it's so hard. And I'm going to tell you guys something that's very private, for me at least. And I'm not afraid to say it, because I think that I might actually have some of my mamas out there that feel the same way. But I actually told my hubby before having kids that it was going to change, even sexually, when a baby were to happen, if like we ever got pregnant. And he was so confused. He didn't understand. And the reason I knew that it, you know, that this was going to happen is because it had already happened before. In fact, it was one of the reasons why I had a problem in my marriage prior, and then later I divorced from that marriage. So I can't and have a hard time separating being a wife and a mom. I have a really hard time connecting those two pieces together, and then I find myself looking in the mirror, and I can't seem to say, like I did before, oh, you look great. You're gonna knock his socks off when he sees you. You know, this whole sex appeal and like this feeling of you're a bad bee. You know, you go and strut those, you know, whatever. Like, high heels or put your face on. I don't know. And it's been a journey. I don't know. Do you guys relate, or what is your take on this?
I guess for me, mine would be totally different. So I have to go a different route with that, because with me, my family is blended. I do not have any biological kids with my husband. We both came in with babies. But there was a big shift. There was a big change, because it goes from, me being single mom by myself, me and my daughter rocking out life for 10 years, where it's just like do. And then I get into this marriage and it's like, okay, I'm mom, I'm wife, but who am I really? So me having to just literally, go through the process of learning who I am as an individual, and then I'm able to show up in those roles. But it took me to know me as a person, to be mom, to be wife simultaneously. And I messed up many of times with that, because as a single mom, it was always my baby before anybody. Like, I'm stepping behind mine, like she comes first. But then I get married, and it's like, the husband, the wife submits to the husband, and that whole order. And it didn't register in the beginning. So it was like I was playing both sides, trying to make sure each of them was satisfied with me as a person, in those particular roles. And then I had an epiphany. Like, I had to get counsel. We're supposed to seek wise counsel. So it was like, Nikki, one day Tanaya is going to be grown and gone, and you're stuck at home with your husband. So you need to figure this thing out. And it was in that moment I had to know that my husband was absolutely priority for me. So I had to get my sexy back, because in those moments of uncertainty, it was just like, I'm just blah. Like, I'm just here. Like, nobody's really seeing me. It was like a tug of war. I'm being pulled left and right. It's like it was a competition for my attention. And they both wanted love from me, and I was struggling to actually figure out how to make them feel loved at the same time, without losing me. So I get
Oh,
it.
that's
I don't know.
so strong. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'd be like if we ever had kids together. But coming from that standpoint, that's what it was like. And when she got grown, like right now she's gone, like, we had to prepare for this moment. And had I not had that moment it took a major conflict for me to get to that moment. And if that hadn't happened, I'm not sure how this would have played out. I probably would have been single again, and my child gone living her best life, talk to me when she feels like it, and I'm like, dang. So it wasn't about choosing my husband over my child. It was about choosing me, so I'm able to show up whole for both of them.
Girl.
Aisha, and the good thing is that you're doing this early. Like, since you had a child so early, you're still doing this in early lives. Now, I will tell you that being 48, about to turn 49, with 2 little kids at home, it's like, what do you do? And this week, it's very interesting that we're having this conversation, because it seems like every single day of this week we've had this conversation. Rio 2 nights ago, I can't remember what we were doing, and I was on my phone and I was trying to do something, and she looks at me and she goes, I just want to do something with you, Mommy. And I'm like, just give me 1 minute, because I got to finish this little. And it's just like, you never play with me. You never play with me. And then she started bawling.
Oh, my baby.
And she's like, you never have time to play with me, and all I want is play with you. And you are always at work, and you have 2 jobs. Why can't you just have one job? why do you have to have 2 jobs? Why do you have to work for Stryker? And why do you have to have complex kids? And I was like, holy shit, right? Like, this is happening with my daughter. Like, it's okay that my husband is complaining about this, but for my 8-year-old to come and say something like that, obviously if she's complaining and my husband is complaining and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Right? So as soon as she said that, my reaction was, hey, baby girl, I know mommy's very, very busy, but I want you to know that the reason why I'm doing the 2 jobs is that I can leave one of them soon. So I have more time with you guys. And then, the guilt that comes along with that. And then, of course, my husband got in the middle of it, and then he made it even worse. And I was like, because he goes, don't worry, Rio, she's not singling you out. She doesn't have time for anybody. She doesn't have time for me. She doesn't have and I was like, oh, thank you. Throw me under the bus and crush, run me over. But it was like this week, it's just been about that. It's like, I am doing all these things, and yes, I'm showing up more. I'm doing this master class that I've been doing for 2 weeks, and it is taking time away. I am recording my own podcast, so that's taking time away. So when I'm home, I'm not 100% at home because I can't really be there. And this week she was in spring break. And so I think that she needed a little bit more because she wasn't around her friends, the whole week. And so, I mean, it was, and now I am wondering, like, how can I make all this work?
I got you. So it's possible.
We both are like, who?
Yeah. it is definitely. I'm gonna say it real quick, and then I'm gonna yield the mic to Jill. But it is possible, and kudos to Rio for expressing how she felt. Absolutely. Even though I know it hurt your soul, like that thing hurt, and then for hubby to jump in, like, somebody else is feeling what I'm feeling,
guns blazing,
right? So I don't want you to take it.
Like I'm a target. It was literally that's what it was. It was like,
but
vroom,
I don't
vroom,
want
vroom,
you to don't take that moment like everybody is jumping on me. It was just in that moment the emotions were high, and that's the only way they were able to get out how they really felt, right?
Yeah.
So the same way you schedule to do your master class, the same way you schedule to do your podcast, we got to schedule some time in with baby girl, even if it's just 10 minutes. And that's the thing. Yes. We think that it has to be hours at a time. It can literally be doing a TikTok. That little dance you did earlier, and be that she likes dancing, like
she would have had a blast.
That would make her day. And it's literally the small things. And as parents, we like to think big, like, I got to do this, I got to do that. And as mom, it's like, I'm providing, I'm working all these jobs so y'all can have, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I show up at your games, I show up at your cheer, but that baby wants quality time with mommy.
Yeah.
Your husband wants quality time with you.
So after I said that, I was like, how about of course, like, she needed mom, so I dropped everything and she came and snuggled with me, and it was time for bed. Aww. So she came and I let her sleep next to me, and then I told her, I said, okay, this is what I want you to do. Tomorrow when you wake up, I want you to make a list of all the things that you want to do with mom. And then we are going to pick one of those things every week, and we're going to do it together probably on the weekend. Because now...
That's good.
The one thing that I did do at work was I stepped away from taking call on the weekend, because we have to have somebody on call, because if there's a surgery that goes on, like, somebody has to go in. And I told my team, I was like, hey, I've been doing this 18 years. I'm sorry. I've earned my weekends. So now that we have people that can take call and they can take care of the surgeons on the weekend, and I don't have to worry about if they're going to be able to cover a case or not, if they know if the knowledge. And so now I'm out. And that's what I did. So I'm no longer taking call on the weekends, but I am like, I am trying to better myself and trying to do these things. And so, for them. But I understand, like right now, it has been hard. And feeling sexy, bringing that has not been on my top priority. And he knows it, and it's been a problem.
Yeah,
it has been
because
a problem.
what happens when you gain all of this but lose them? Is it even worth
I know.
it?
I know.
But you got it. You got it. And we are rooting for you. You are going to do it. You're going to show up sexy for your husband unexpectedly. And he's going to be like, damn, there she go. I've been looking for her.
Jill, do you have anything to say? I want to actually comment on just that. But do you have anything to say right now?
Okay. Yes. So first thing, Taisha touched on it, but I just did a corporate speaking gig that was about like play and parenting with less burnout. And one of the things that I talked about in it was this idea of like the 9-minute rule. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it's this concept that if we can really connect for 9 minutes a day. And this I was talking about with kids, but the truth is it's with every relationship that it has a major, major impact, like much more than if we had hours where we're not fully present. So the idea with the 9-minute rule is like, to me, you find 9 minutes however you find it. That could be 9 minutes in one sitting. I like to do it 3 minutes. So technically with kids, like you would try to do this around a transition. So like the first 3 minutes when they wake up in the morning, the first 3 minutes when they come home from school or daycare, the last 3 minutes before they go to sleep at night would kind of be like the framework. But the truth is, it's not about the when so much as like when you can do it. But the idea is like, I'm here with you. I'm giving you my full attention. I'm not doing other things while I'm with you. I'm not on my phone while I'm with you. And the truth is like, we can all do it for 3-minute increments. Even the busiest of busy multiple jobs, like we can, all of us can. You can find 3 minutes. And I feel like that's very empowering, like as a parent, because it's like, there are weeks, Dave, like I don't have. Some days I have a lot of time to really be present and go on adventures and do, experiences and things with my daughter. And then there are days I don't, especially as my business gets busier, it gets harder. So I can only imagine working multiple full-time jobs. But I think that like I can give you that. I can give you those few minutes. And even if I can't do 9 in a day, I can walk away being like, I know I gave you my undivided attention for 5. And that's halfway there. So like, I know your cup is still more full than... So I feel like just like keeping that in mind, it doesn't mean you have to go around with a stopwatch, like, but I feel like just that is really, right? Like it's very liberating, I think, for us as parents. And there's tons of research that backs
Michelle's
this.
like, I can relate.
Yes.
But like, or you could, right? Like, or you could, and you set the timer on your watch and you're like, all right, on to the next kid. Because when you're juggling that many things, maybe you do. But I think like, really being conscious of that. And then the other thing, I love the idea of like picking the list. We actually have a jar of experiences that my daughter and I put together. Some are at home, some are more like we go out on an adventure, and we try to do the same thing. We used to do every week. Now it's gone a little hard. We do it more like every other week, but we'll pick something from the jar. But I think what's special about that too is you're empowering her. Like it's what she wants to do with you, right? So it's like sometimes things as little as like, I love Taisha's idea with the dancing. Like it's going along with what she's into. Sometimes it's like going for a quick walk and they pick the route, right? But it's like empowering them in it.
It really
so
is.
I think like it's just about, I think, that little like extra bit of mindfulness. It's not necessarily about like being able to extend yourself further because you just can't. But I think like making more of little pockets is actually going to have a greater impact. So that was my thought on that.
Wait,
My
so
other
I have
there-
a question.
Yeah.
Does that work with husbands?
Yes.
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 I was about to say, go to
Yes.
bed 10
In
minutes
9
early
minutes?
so you got 9 with him.
Is it the
Yeah.
9
Go to bed 10
minutes with the
minutes early.
husband?
Yes, it does.
Go to bed 10 minutes early.
That's right.
And
That's
you
right.
got 9
It
minutes
does.
left.
It does. I think the idea, it's just even less about like the minutes. It's more about like actually being really present in the quality time that you have. And I feel like that we can all do, and that helps every relationship, right?
Michelle, you're not too convinced. What's going on?
No, I am. I'm trying to.
I'm looking at her eyes and she's like, really? 9 minutes?
It's true.
Yeah.
9 minutes.
The other thing I
mean-
was going to say, Jackie, to your point about like the like sexy and like being, I often feel like I'm like, this like life is not sexy. So it's like very hard for me.
It really isn't.
You know, like mom
know.
life is not sexy. The constant juggling of the stuff, you know, when you're in even like, it really doesn't matter which phase, because like I'm out of like, you know, diaper phase like right now with my daughter, but like that, not sexy. Like it's
Not
waking
sexy.
up early, like all this, it's just, for me, it's just not. So it's like very hard for me to flip the switch to then get into that mode. I think that's where I really struggle, is like, I think and maybe it's like men, but I feel like my husband, like my daughter could go down for bed and like if I said it was on, it could be on. But for me, I'm like, I just can't like flip a switch. Like I feel gross. Like I feel like I'm tired. Like I'm body tired by the end of the day.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
just like, I find that part of it really challenging. And I think that the things that make me feel sexiest, which are like, yes, like I do attach some of it to like how I physically feel. So it is like how I'm dressing or like me doing my hair and taking the time and doing that. But I often feel like it feels hard for the two things to coexist. Like if my daughter is at my parents' for a couple of days, I'm like, oh, I can like take the time to get myself together and we can have a date and it's much easier for me. But in the day-to-day, I find it really hard. So one of the things that I've been really trying to do, as I sit here in a pizza sweatshirt, so I'm not doing it today, but but I have been trying to like, especially when I work stuff too, because like I just feel more confident in myself when I like get dressed and do my hair and like put it together. So I've been trying to make more of an effort to still be in clothes that like function in my life, because like I still am running after a 4-year-old and like on, you know, like filming stuff that requires me to be sitting on the floor and, you know, whatever. But that like makes me feel good. And like that helps me a little bit with just feeling sexier and more confident in general. But that's like a place that I find it really, really hard, like flipping the switch. And like even nights, like my husband and I were really making a conscious effort to have like a date night every week, even if we didn't go out for the date, like a date night at home. And really sticking to it. So even if it was like we cooked dinner together, or we like did like played a board game, or like whatever the thing was, and it was really great. But even the initial moments of like getting into it, because it would be like the night we're doing it and I'm like, oh, like I'm tired tonight, like I'm not like
Start before that.
Yeah.
Well,
It starts before that.
then throw your 48-year-old body, 49-year-old body into that. Hormones and, you know, things that are just, I mean, I don't have the energy that I did when I was 20 years old.
Michelle. Get you some supplements.
Oh, you'll
and
get
you
there,
some
Taisha.
energy.
Don't you worry.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, get you some supplements for some like energy and stuff like that.
I have tried it all, my dear. Nobody told me. If somebody told me at 36, 37 that my whole entire hormonal, like everything was going to change, I started I'm a thin girl, okay, just by nature. I gained weight, like almost 10 pounds, unheard of. I was like out of nowhere at 39. And I'm like, what is happening? So anywho, that is another podcast episode. And Michelle, you got to go soon, right, my dear?
I do. But yes, I'll just say this as the last thing. Yes, we can do this. And
We can. All
we can't.
that to say,
it is
we can.
not. Yes,
it is not impossible.
It sucks sometimes, and it is like Jill was saying. It's like, I don't feel like it. I don't want to do it, but you got to do it, and so I'm gonna try to do it. So
And I
will
always
come
feel better
back and
when
I will
I
let
do
you-
it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
When you like,
yes.
if you just push past like that initial thing,
Yes.
and I'm not trying to imply that people should be like, you know, if you're not feeling it, like I'm not saying force yourself to, that's not what I'm trying to say.
Right.
But I do often feel like my initial resistance, like to the date night, let's say, of like, oh, it's tonight, but I'm so tired. And then like when I actually like do, I'm like, we're like 5 minutes in and I'm like, okay, this is actually like, you know, you almost like it energizes you. Like once you actually
It does.
get there,
You're
but
in it. Yeah.
it's hard, I think, to like, you really have to kind of push yourself to do it. And I think to Taisha's point, like to kind of feel like, you know, like you're doing it for you too. Like I think that when you said that, Jackie, about like the sex, like I feel like, yes, of course, like do I want my husband to look at me? Yeah, of course, but like it's for me. You know what I mean? I want to feel good. Like I want to feel confident. And then I think that then informs you know, how we then like are relating to each other. But I feel like it doesn't really work to just like do it for like you. It has to come from within you. And I feel like when Taisha said that, that made so much sense to me. Right? It's like,
Oh my gosh.
what do I want?
Yeah.
What do I need? Like I'm still a person in this with all of these different roles. It's like what makes me feel good, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's so true. You saying that, and it is going to take a little bit of more willpower. Yeah. I wanted to tell Taisha, you know, after Taisha was like, "Get your sexy back." Sometimes it's animosity that I have too, and I have to be real about that with me. Yes, I have to say it. I'm spicy, you guys. That's just the way it is, and I have to say the way that I am. I am a spicy bia. And when it comes to this, I have a list this big with my husband of gripes, of just gripes. And crazy because Michelle, she just left, by the way, and she said goodbye to everybody. But she reminds me of my husband, and I'm her husband. I'm the one saying, yeah. So it's crazy, and I'm. You know, obviously I wouldn't do the guns blazing thing. Sorry if you're listening, guy, but that was a little off, like not cool. But like, I definitely have done in other ways the guns blazing, not throwing him under the bus in front of the baby. He's still baby, and I would never do that. But another way is where he feels like absolute not cool. Like, did you just say that? And I do regret those moments, but it's like Taisha said. Or I think was it you, Jill? It's in the moment. It's not personal. Yeah. I just need to get it out. I just need to tell you, look, like you need more. You need to give me more time. I'm still your wife. I still need more time. But
actually, I had a thought also as you were saying this, Jackie, that I don't want to forget, because I know we've talked a little bit in past episodes about like love languages. And I think that plays a role in this also, right? Like understanding and respecting that about your partner and you. Like, and I've shared this before on the podcast. And it was actually, I remember my husband was working from home, like passing through, hearing me share it. We were like laughing about it. It's not a secret, but we have opposite love languages. My lowest two are his highest two. And when we first realized that, we were both kind of like, oh, shit. Like, that's like, so the way that he feels the most loved makes me feel like the least loved, right?
Yeah.
And like vice versa. And the things that like are the most important to each of us are the least important to the other one, which is like, it's such a trip because we have so much in common, but like that is, it's a big difference. So for me, for me, it's like big, you know, experiences and quality time and gift giving and, you know, like words of affirmation, like these are like my top three, right? And for him, like his number one is acts of service and then physical touch. And those are my lowest ones. So it's just like one of the things I think we also struggle with is like, for me, I need your time. I want to be like, I want to be dating you. And you know, like that really,
with you, Jill.
Like that really matters to me. For him, he would like feel really loved if we weren't doing that, but I just like remembered to take out the garbage right? I mean, it's not exactly this, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like a different, you know what I mean? It's just different. And like on my birthday, like for me, like being made to feel really special on my birthday with like these different, like that really fills me. And for him, like he'd be fine if the day came and went. He doesn't really want you to make a thing out of it. It's like I would be doing that for myself. That like actually doesn't make him feel loved, you know? So it's like, I think that so much of this too is just like really being aware and having those conversations with your partner and understanding like what each of you need, and then kind of figuring out how to show up for each other, especially if it doesn't come naturally. Like I know that's been a big contributing factor for us, is just like, you know, I need that to feel good and like sexy and secure in the relationship. So even if that for you doesn't feel important, and to his credit, he really like, you know, makes an effort and pays attention to that.
I would say the same with my husband. He makes an effort, and that's what keeps me going, my motor going, and I find that absolutely sexy. And that's what actually gets him laid, guys. So anyways.
Yes.
Yes, girl, yes. And on that note, we will see you guys next week with another episode, and we'll talk then. Bye.
Bye, guys.